Well, all created with a purpose. But the whole
Wow.
catch was the highest form of this had to have melanin, because otherwise it was limited to wherever it was that they found themselves. And this is why melanin is still coveted. It can't be duplicated. They have something called melatonin, and why anybody that has melanin would ever want to buy melatonin, I have no idea, because you don't understand the basis of that in order to make that kind of a move. But either way, that's why you now have a pineal gland that can manufacture melanin. No scientist that I know of has been able to break down melanin to its component parts. It always breaks it down. There's something more to break it down into. They've even tried some very horrible experiments at Montauk with that, but there could be another whole show and a whole program. But so now you've got the scenario. So then you have on the island of Dr. Moreau and all this kind of thing, you've got animal people. You've got people that were made from apes and people that were made from tigers and people that were made from dinosaurs. You got all kind of things. Then you have mankind, but when they found out that once you had a cell and you could take part of that cell, if you could take the RNA, the ribbon of life, you could duplicate that inside of a dinucleic acid or DNA, and you could remanufacture that person. The catch is you can do it 6 times. The second time is a blank, and that ends that race. So they don't have everlasting life because they're soulless. So now you can begin to see a lot of stories now. And the reason why these vampire movies, all these things, these reptile movies are coming back, the dinosaurs, is because the planet's consciousness, the memory of the planet, the membrane of the planet, the Akashic bank, the energy field around the planet, which records everything that happened on this cell, because that's all this planet is a cell. Now we're beginning to understand, as we become good little mitochondria, where our purpose may be. And for those who really stretch it up by using some of the monatomic gold and things like this, and this is why they tell you don't use it because they don't want you to get comprehension, you begin to come back to where all these legends started from, why the worshiping of gold, why the story of the matrix, why the story of melanin, and why you kill for it. All these things begin to make sense as little by little that memory, that veil of Maya is being lifted, and we're coming back into the consciousness. That must mean that there is something pretty big about to happen, and something is going to happen with people that have melanin, and something is going to happen to the planet itself. Now you can set the stage for a bunch of other things that may happen.
Now, Dr. Blair, I'm going to open up the phone lines. I already have it. The phone lines are just full already. But before I do that, and just for anyone who's just tuned in, we're speaking to the Griot, a very wise gentleman. If you've been listening for even 2 minutes, you recognize this. This is Delbert Blair of Chicago, Illinois. He's right there. I see all kind of people in the phone line from the Chicago area. You have to come out and hear this person speak. But in order to get in and to call in and ask your question and to join the conversation, call 347-843-4485. That's 347-843-4485. We're going to open up the chat room in just a moment. And if you want to be seen in the switchboard, just push a number 1. Dial number 1 on your keypad, and you'll be moved up so that we'll know that you want to ask a question of Delbert Blair. So my question is, here we are. It's all been set up. When did the seeding happen? How did different peoples from different galaxies come in to seed the plants and the animals? They were apparently doing experiments trying to create something. What was the whole purpose? Who were these Anunnaki and the Nephilim?
Well, Nephilim means one thing. Anunnaki means those that fell from the sky. A Nephilim could be the higher ranges of gods, if you would. But here's the best way I can do to try and explain that in my limited consciousness. And that is just simply this, that the planet was here. It was not the original purpose of anybody to have it here, but to let the planet begin to grow its own and to attract its own. But now since the fallen ones, our highest ranked gods around were here, they said, well, we got a place now. The gods are there. We can keep their memory going. We can now use this as a zoo or a prison planet. Because now any life form that gets out of hand, we don't know what to do with it. They knew they couldn't kill. We'll learn that yet. If you have a soul, you can't die. So all you do when you imprison and kill souls is set up karma, and that's what they don't understand, what the dharma of karma would be. So they said they then began to send in what they called the laggards. And then this planet, which is nothing but a glorified zoo, laboratory, experiment, I don't know what they call Earth, but I know she suffered enough, and this is why they're granting her a dispensational right. So now you had everything being brought in. Those that they couldn't do anything with in other places, send them to Earth. Those they didn't know what to do with it, send them to Earth. Why? Because the best teachers and doctors were there. The gods themselves could do something with it since we couldn't. And, of course, we get into the whole aspect that is asked by, well, I shouldn't even say this, but I'm going to by NASA, never a straight answer, and all the things about can there be intelligent life? Intelligent life, that can't be on Earth because there ain't too much intelligence on this planet. But I will say in other planets there's extremely intelligent life forms, and you really, I don't even know what figure to use, billions or trillions and millions of intelligent life forms. And, of course, we get here, we're thinking very pompously that we're something. We're really not much of anything, but we're coming back into consciousness, and that's the only way I can say about it.
And so we're waking up.
Waking up. Some of us have birthmarks that are nothing but stamp suits that they grow into. If you're fine, you can get a Chinese person, you can get a Japanese person, you can get an Australian person, an African person, a Caucasian person, and they all will have the same kind of birthmark. People don't ever understand that yet because we're stamped into some of these things. That's a stamp on it again, you know. As I say, we don't understand the very obvious because we've been under a mental control by those who never wanted us to waken up, and especially when they understood that if we understood we had the bloodline of the gods, that we might become very dangerous to their ilk, and that's when you start getting into dracons. And no, we don't have time to get into all that and make any sense of anything now.
All right, I won't mess with that. But I do have to ask the question that here we are people of melanated descent. Now, you're saying that we are descendant of the gods. Touch on that just a little bit. I know, I see you all. I'm going to open the phone lines.
They don't think you are. Any rate, well, I just did. The gods would be therefore what? The gods would be any intelligent life form. Any science that is advanced that comes to an aboriginal or indigenous person that is not advanced will be confused by, they have it called the cargo cult. During World War II, a plane crashed. These guys got a radio set, and then the planes came and got them. Now they have houses they build like planes because they want the gods to come to get them. A god simply means an advanced science race. There's only one creator.
Okay.
Everybody else, if you advance far enough, they get into nanotechnology now. They get into scalar technology. They got HARP and Izada. So that's all that means. It's just a form that is now using matter in a different form.
Okay. Well, I have, let me open up the phone line here. We have in Chicago, looks like that's my dear twin cousin, Delbert. Delbert, you're on the air. We have a question or comment for Delbert Blair.
Oh, how you doing, Tam?
Hey, Albert.
Well, it wasn't you called me. I'm walking in Walmart, and I just got off the show. But I do have a question. I came in the middle of the show, but I believe I came in. The speaker was speaking on how I think he may have been saying we're the only planet that lives on top of the planet as opposed to inside of the planet. Am I correct?
The only planet? No, I wouldn't say we're the only planet. No. It's just that a planet under a sun, at least a planet in this solar system, has an exterior, a surface, and an interior, and life can live in all three of those areas.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
Was that it?
And one other question, and I'm not sure if you touched on this as well. They had a movie out, something about Mars, and they were talking about how life, they went into showing them whatever face on Mars, and they had, and at one time, I guess, a life form had come from that planet to the Earth. And I was wondering, was there any significance to, that whole storyline?
Well, yes, I think that when you find legend and when you find stories that are retold by griots and Oshawisha men, and I don't want to, because I'll leave out one, somebody else would be disappointed. Those stories come down because they had a beginning. And most of the beginnings were close to the truth. But because we had lost so much consciousness, we didn't know truth when we heard it because our scientists didn't told you, if it wasn't, you couldn't see it, hold it, be it, or something. It doesn't exist, which is idiotic. But nevertheless, we have some idiots that call themselves scientists, and all they're after really is tenure and able to get, sabbaticals and stuff like this. And if they deviate too far from that truth, they don't get either.